Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Roll with the Changes by REO Speedwagon. So I recognize the name of this band, but I couldn't tell you what their music was. I may have heard it, but I would never have associated it with this name, and so that's why we're here, is I'm trying to fill in the gaps with my present day modern music history. I'm a classical musician, so I know my classical music history from hundreds of years ago, but in the last 50 years, not so much. So that's one thing we're doing here. This was also a poll winner over on Patreon and for channel members. This came in first for REO Speedwagon songs. So very much looking forward to this. And what else might we be doing with this music? As I just mentioned, I am a classically trained professional musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So with this music, we dig into all different aspects of it. The instrumentation, the form, how it's written, a little bit of music theory, maybe some instrumental demonstrations, but also why does it resonate with us? Why do we like this music? Or maybe why do we not like it? So no more delay for now. Let's listen. Okay, here we go.
As soon as you are able, woman, I am willing to make the break that we are on the brink of. My cup is on the table, my love is feeling, waiting here for you to take and drink of. So if you're tired of the same old story, oh, turn some pages. I'll be here when you are ready to roll with the changes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, whew. Lots of energy here. It's very bubbly, very rich. Wow, okay. So I do know that this band started actually in the 60s. This song came out in 78. I don't know how long they went into the 80s though. And I'm not even sure, so the name of this band has kind of lived in my consciousness. I've heard of REO Speedwagon, still don't know what the name means, but we'll get there. I would have pictured it more with 80s for some reason, but I don't know why. Okay. You know, sometimes we just get weird preconceived ideas. Okay, so this is definitely 70s prog rock, sort of kind of hard rock. I don't know. I just sort of hear all of the characteristics of music of this time in that genre. But they still have their own flavor. And this is just the first peek into this group. So I can't quite pinpoint what the flavor is. I just know it's kind of yummy. It's delicious. So very rich in texture. Lots of heavy piano, the guitar that came in there, a lot of straightforward sounds, just like really in your face, and the vocals were matching that. And it's not too acoustic. There's a little bit of layering to it, electronic, like post-production kind of effects added to it. But it's just very bubbly, lots of energy. Okay, so we ended, I guess, the first verse, headed into some cool guitar stuff. Again, it's just, whew, like I said, just in your face. A lot coming at you here. So let's keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I knew it had to happen, felt the tables turning, gotten me through my darkest hour. I heard the thunder clapping, felt the desert
I gotta stop it. All right. This is a lot of fun. Again, just how rich it is. So thickly layered. Nothing takes a break. I'm almost feeling out of breath just listening to it. And, in the audio files of this, you wouldn't see much of this. It would just be like a thick bar of sound, a wall of sound all the way across. But I like the sound of it. I really like the energy and the vocal, woo, it's just part of it. You have to be careful with those little whoops and hollers and things like that. It can get kind of cheesy, but I like what he's doing. Just, it fits in and it definitely reflects the energy here. So we're just getting a little taste so far of the guitar. Maybe there's a solo coming up. I'm really interested to hear the chops on this guitarist. Or maybe there's more than one. I don't know. Because what we've heard so far is sort of, it was very waily, like it wails a lot, the wailing guitar. But it's like, it was mostly like slides and approximated notes rather than like noodly notes or hanging on to one note at for long amounts of time, kind of like Pink Floyd. This was more like woo, like the shifting around for string instruments, violin, viola, cello, bass. We call that shifting, where we have one position here because we don't have frets on our instruments, so we have to sort of keep track of where the frets are in our mind, and so when we go from one position to the next, that's called shifting. So I'm not sure if it's quite the same for guitars, but to me it seems like the traveling on the fingerboard or the neck is the point. And that's a really interesting approach to guitar playing. I like it because it breaks the norms. Like, how many notes do we actually need to play? Let's focus on traveling between the notes. That's really cool. All right, I'm noticing some things with a vocalist. Very unique way of singing. It's a good way. It's good. We'll get into that more later, but I don't know. There are so many little details in this that I find myself like just smiling, and I'm not even sure exactly what they're singing about yet. There's just so much to hear that I haven't narrowed it down to the words quite yet. Of course, I can guess, roll with the changes, but we'll get there. All right, let's keep going. This is fun. Back it up a little, and here we go.
Same old story. Oh, baby, turn some pages. I'll be here when you are ready to roll with the changes. Baby, roll with the changes. Oh, you got to. Keep on rolling. Oh, yeah. Keep on rolling.
into the guitar solo. I'm hoping for a really good guitar solo. It's like they keep bringing that person out and then like, nope. Just kidding. Okay, the organ solo. Awesome. The keyboard. Is it Hammond organ? Whatever it is. Awesome. Again, a really unique approach to the solo. So it was more just chords. That was the structure, chordally. But there was that cool I can't quite describe it. I'd like to see it in video. It's almost like one hand in your interesting, like a telegraph machine or something. And then a couple of, again, it's that traveling. So it's not quite so noodly. There were a couple of noodly moments in there where we have little notes in there, but the rest of it was more chords. And then that playing with the texture. It's more like a staccato organ sound. All right. Really want to hear this guitar. We'll back it up so I can hear the start of this and the very end of the cool keyboard stuff. Excellent. Okay. Well, I kind of love this song. Is it sort of an anthem? It could be for a lot of things. It's so energetic. All right. Great guitar solo there. It might have been a duet, higher guitar, lower guitar. The styles seemed to be different enough, and I thought that they were kind of overlapping, handing one off to the other, so I love that communication there. And they also kept with the tradition of the sound of this song. So especially the lower guitar started to actually imitate the chord structure, whatever the pattern, in the piano part, which, by the way, that just never stopped. Everybody must be really tired after this song. Like, ow, so much energy. And of course, then there's a chorus. Of course, there's a chorus. I think you have to have a vocal chorus in this song. It just would not be the same without it. And it is sort of crying out the anthem part of this. Keep on rolling. So before we dive into the layers of the music, I want to check the lyrics. Make sure I'm not missing the message. As soon as you are able, woman, I am willing to make the break that we are on the brink of. My cup is on the table, my love is spilling, waiting here for you to take and drink of. There must be a typo or something there, not sure. So if you're tired of the same old story, oh, turn some pages. I will be here when you are ready to roll with the changes. Yeah. I knew it had to happen. Felt the tables turnin', got me through my darkest hour. I heard the thunder clappin', felt the desert burnin', until you poured on me like a sweet sun shower. All right, so maybe not such a social anthem here. Maybe more of a love story of sorts. So if you're tired of the same old story, oh, turn some pages. Roll with the changes. Gotta learn to roll. Okay. So what kind of energy is this exactly? Interesting. I don't think I would have caught on to this, that this might be someone talking to a young woman that they are interested in. I would have thought it was more like societal, like, or maybe individual triumphs through life. Keep on changing with life. But it might not be that. It might be more love not wanting to go unrequited. Interesting. Well, it doesn't matter. I actually bet lots of people thought this was more like an uplifting personal anthem to, seize your goals and dreams, whatever that might be. And if there are some other undertones in there with this, then so be it. That's great, because then it leaves it open for even more interpretations. But, back in the day when this came out, we didn't have the internet readily available. So if you didn't know what the words were, if you didn't catch them right away, unless you actually drove to the music store, bought the record or the tape or the CD and actually unpackaged it and opened it up, and if the lyrics happened to be in there, then you could know what they are saying. Now, the words are easy to hear in this song, so I could definitely have picked up on a lot of the words if I listened more closely. But again, a lot of my brain goes for the music first and the lyrics second. To me, sometimes the words in a song, it's just like another instrument making different sounds. And I hear it more that way. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a word. Oh yeah, that was a word. Okay. And so I have to often go back and read all of the lyrics to catch everything. Sometimes magically there are songs where the words just speak to me loud and clear. But with this, it was so rich with all of the music happening that I didn't think there was any way my brain was actually going to do all the lyrics. I definitely heard the keep on rolling. I definitely heard that. Okay, so I think what we'll do right now is dive into the vocals. So the vocalist being seen as one of the instruments playing, rather than lead vocals and then all the other instruments behind. Let's wrap that person up as just one of the instruments in the group. And he did take a step to the side and let the other instruments have their moment in the spotlight. So it's not heavily dependent upon the lead vocals. But with his singing, again, it's very straightforward, which matches the tone of this whole song. But his voice itself is super straightforward. No vibrato, no change between like chest voice and head voice. It's just all right there. And then the delivery of the words. There were some really unique ways of some of the diphthongs, how we changed the different vowel sounds and the shapes through words. But then especially his R's. I heard so many hard R's. And to a classically trained vocalist, that's a big no-no, actually. We're not supposed to do R's. In fact, a lot of time we either just don't sing them at all, or we roll them or flip them. R and ra, roll and flip. And so if we do have to sing an R like that, we don't want to linger on it too much. And so when someone with that training, such as myself, hears in contemporary modern music, hears the vocalist hanging on to those R's, the first instinct is like, but then it's like, okay, wait, give it a chance, because it might fit in really well. And in this case, it didn't bother me at all. I just noticed it, and I'm just like, well, that's kind of endearing, actually, that those R's are there, because you can tell he's really leaning on them, and it's gotta be a characteristic of his singing. Let's see if we can go back and hear some of those endearing R's.
Tables turn. Gotten met through my darkest hour. I heard the thunder clapping, felt the desert burning, until you poured on me like a sweet sun shower.
Shower. Even that one. Shower. And he sort of manipulated the vowel sound instead of shower, shower. I also heard him closing to the n sounds really quickly. Let's see if we can catch that here. Go back a little bit.
I knew it had to happen, felt the tables turning, gotten that through
got. Yeah.
I heard the thunder clapping, felt the desert burning.
Okay, well, I do like his ends, not the kind of that part, but how he ends all the words that end with N. He really enunciates burnin'. You hear the N at the end. That's nice for my ear to hear. It's just so unique. And he doesn't really have a vibrato, and it's that same straightforward sound. And so a lot of his inflection and phrasing, the musicality, actually sort of comes from his diction, how he pronounces all the words. That is so interesting. Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning because I want to hear how these instruments were introduced originally, just like right out of the gate, all of this energy. Okay, piano's revving up a little bit. There. Oh, I love that sound. Okay, so I was wrong. It didn't come right out of the gate with the energy, but it was bubbling already. That piano, dum bum ba 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 ba, like already revving up, and then boom, the percussion, boom ba, like more and more. Like every time it came in, it added another beat, and then that cool guitar, which totally reminds me of, not like they're ripping anything off, but just that is a sound I heard a lot in Boston. For those of you that know, we just did recently the full album listening of Boston, the album Boston by Boston. So I really got to know some of those signature sounds, and I definitely heard that, like that lower guitar sound. Super cool. All right, let's keep going, because this is, once the energy is there, it's so cool.
As soon as you are able, woman, I am willing to make the break that we are on the brink of. My cup is
Okay, I just can't help but admire the piano playing. Let's see if we can figure some of this out. That right there is just, and maybe just this. If there's so much energy there, and there is a definite chord progression that repeats over and over again, it gives us the foundation throughout the entire song. So if I were to do a deep dive of this, I would look at the chord progressions all the way through, and then I think the form of the piece would sort of present itself more clearly. At this point, it's just so much sound, and verse, chorus, with the instrumental interlude, it's pretty standard, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need a good old standard every now and then, and that is the role of this song. But with that standard still comes some uniqueness. Like, the energy lives in my head. It's still bouncing around in there. And that says a lot about the quality of the music. All right. I want to go to some of the instrumental, the guitar and the keyboard work. Let's hear if I can find the original guitar part. I think it was just a transition that made me think of how they travel between all the notes. And I did hear some noodly notes. I heard some more work of that during the piece, but there's this quality where they do all that traveling between the notes. I just think it's so cool to focus on the stuff between the notes rather than the notes themselves. That's out of the box type of thinking. Let's see if we can find this spot. It's just so smushy and distorted. Okay, a little noodly there, but then there's just something about it that it's like I hear all of the notes, like the fingers are really kept on the strings with this style of playing. And so you hear all of the slides in between when they're moving around on the strings. And so then they use that with like all of those little sounds that happen on the guitar work. I just think it's really creative. Okay, shall we go ahead to the organ solo? Again, the fingers are just like right here. They don't get like the sliding, you know, on the, oh, see? Okay, this is this weird staccato section. Ooh, sounds like a video game. Imitating the piano part. Little nod to the pianist. Okay, more sliding. Okay, that might have been the lower guitar, but now here's the higher guitar. Means the lower guitar is waiting. Like, your turn, dude. Oh. But not so much a duet, it was a handoff. Right? More traveling. I'm going back to this. Yeah, here we go. Okay, to me this imitates like the piano stuff. Very cool. And then the chorus comes back in at just the right time. I remember that moment. I was like, perfect. It's nice to hear a good balance. Like if I would have been writing this piece, that would have been the time I would have chosen to have the chorus came back in. And there it is. And it's a good chorus. That's also what kind of keeps bouncing around in your head afterwards. That repeated phrase over and over again. All right. There's also one other spot that was super neat. I have to go back and find it. Oh, where was it? I think it's here. That. Why is that so cool? I don't know. I don't know why right now. It's that lower guitar, but it emphasizes tonic, the key, the main key that the piece is in. And it's so low, and we haven't really completely heard that yet. We had little teasers with the but that right there is just, it grabs your attention, and you think that nothing is left. Like the chorus already came in, we already heard some awesome solos, but then that happens. Let's hear it again. It's more that playing style where the fingers are really close to the strings. All right, let's hear it out. I want to hear the ending again. More traveling. Awesome chorus. Piano still going, drums still going. Oh. Love the drum roll. The cascade. Yeah. Ooh, a little bluesy. And that little ending with that sound. So great. Well, that was a whole lot of fun. Loved the energy, loved the textures, the vocals, the instrumental solos, and that thick, rich foundation with the piano. That's so great. So much fun to listen to and so much fun to play. So again, I don't know what else this group has done. Really looking forward to hearing some more. What other energy might they have? This is pretty high energy. So do they have medium energy or ballads or I don't know. Well, this is the fun in it. And I will be continuing on with the winners of the poll. I usually get through the top 2 or 3 at least. sometimes 4. Then after that, sometimes we have to have a new poll put up because there are lots of ties. But we also do some tiebreakers on Patreon and for channel members for the top 3 or 4 places. But this is just a lot of fun. Yeah, and I definitely can't wait for more. And so will this go on my playlist? Yes, absolutely. In fact, gosh, this is good music for all sorts of things. Just looking for inspiration or for card trips, like road trips. Heck yeah, next road trip I take, I'm playing this in the car. Absolutely. So still, the band is also quite unique, even though I definitely recognize this style, the proggy, rocky style, even though they started in the 60s. So that's interesting because to me, they just seem a little bit more on the modern side of prog rock, like late 70s as opposed to early 70s. But it's good stuff. So far, so good with this group. All right, so don't forget to do all the things, like and subscribe. Again, you can find me on Patreon. You can support the channel on Ko-fi or through Throne or become a channel member. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay. And keep listening.